Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Ask Avery session. I'm your host, Avery Smith. Excited to be doing this. Sorry, we're starting a little bit late. It's been a hectic day. Let's go ahead and cue the music real fast, and then we'll hop into some questions. All right, everyone. Welcome to another Ask Avery session. I'm your host, Avery Smith. This will be on the Data Career Podcast sometime. So if you haven't already checked that out, wherever you listen to podcasts, check it out, Data Career Podcast, or search my name, Avery Smith, in data, and you should be able to find it. We are on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. If you are here watching, let me know in the comments. I know we got Mushy Mush in the house. Welcome. Good to see you here. We've got some people, I think, on Instagram and LinkedIn as well. So glad to have all of you guys here. If you guys have any questions, put them in the chat and we'll see if we have time for them today. We have a lot going on. Lots of really cool things that I'm excited to talk about today. Number one, I just have to get this in before I get started, before we go too far. And that is, we are starting a new cohort of the Data Analytics Accelerator. If you've never heard of this before, it is my 10-week Data Analyst Bootcamp. This bootcamp is designed to help you land a data job as quickly as possible, specifically some sort of business analyst or data analyst or financial analyst or marketing analyst or BI engineer or BI analyst or something like that, hopefully within 90 days. You get access to the course for life. The curriculum takes about 10 weeks to go through. Usually that requires between 7.5 to 15 hours of work, depending on your experience level. And it's a lot of fun. We have weekly office hours. We actually just had office hours an hour ago where basically people can hop on and ask me and my team any questions that they may have. So if you guys want to learn more about this, this bootcamp follows the SPN method, skill, portfolio, network equals data job. You can go to datacareerjumpstart.com/DAA to learn more. Take a look at some of the different modules we have and some of our testimonials. That will help you get started. We also have a deal going on right now. If you go to datacareerjumpstart.com/bootcamp, you'll be able to learn more about our July cohort. And we have a 25% off. We have one-on-one road calls, engaged online community, mock data interviews. We'll help you with your resume, LinkedIn portfolio. Basically everything you need to land a data job, we're going to be there to help you. So excited to be doing this really soon and have you guys be on here. So with that being said, we're going to take a question. The question today that we were supposed to answer, let's see. The first one was how to break into data analytics, which is a little probably too general if I'm being honest. The other one's to improve my networking. So I'll start with this. Here's one quick way that you can start networking really easily. Open up your phone, go to your contacts. Go through your contacts one bit at a time and write down where everyone in your contacts works. Now ask yourself, would this company hire a data analyst? Yes or no? Do they have data analysts on staff already? Yes or no? Answer that for all of your contacts. And then for the companies that have data analysts on staff, text your friends and say, hey, do you like working for this company? I want to become a data analyst. I think your company has data analysts. Do you know any data analysts at that company? That's it. You're just saying, do you like this company? Do you know any data analysts? That's a super simple text. If they're actually your friends, even if they're just like, honestly, someone you're acquaintance with, they'll probably be willing to help you. This is a great way that you can open the door of the data world and network without having to do anything that difficult. Okay. So I know all of you guys can go home and do that tonight. That's one quick tip that I call it the phone book method, that you can actually start networking really easily without putting in, honestly, any effort whatsoever. So did you guys like that? Give me a yes in the chat if you're willing to try that out and try it. Thanks for all the comments on Instagram. I see that we have Moon Hoax. We have I'm Elijah Butler. What's up, Elijah? Sorry, I had to hop on this live. Let's see. Okay, cool. The other thing I want to talk about, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have. The other thing I wanted to talk about was something I saw on Reddit recently. So let me pull this up. Okay, let's read this one. This is from Acceptable Capital 77. They posted on the subreddit Data Analysis, and they said, I spent 8 months of my life trying and failing to become a data analyst, and have finally given up on it. After getting laid off in November of last year, I decided to make a career change and become a data analyst. I had no experience and knew I'd have to learn a lot of skills to get my foot in the door. I had a good amount of savings, so I decided to study full time, enrolled in a data analytics bootcamp, and spent all my time outside of class reinforcing what I'd learned. I got really good with Python, Excel, VBA, SQL, and Tableau, and had a good understanding of the data analysis process after around 6 to 7 months of studying full time. I graduated the course and continued doing personal projects and started applying for data jobs, which I was optimistic about at first, but quickly realized literally nobody wants to hire an entry-level data analyst right now. I applied for jobs all day, every day, for almost 3 months, set out 312 tailored resumes with my skills and projects from my GitHub, and got a couple interviews, but nothing came from them. After 3 months of sending applications into the void, I finally gave up and last week just accepted a job offer, doing what I was doing before I got laid off, as I had plenty of experience of that on my resume. It really sucks to have spent so much time and effort learning these things that I will probably never use now, but I'm really not sure what I could have done differently. I have the skills, but just never got a chance to prove it. Just couldn't get my foot in the door. I guess this is a warning that data analysis is really oversaturated right now. So if you're thinking of a career change and have no experience or connections in data analysis, I just want to warn you of my experience. So first off, Acceptable Capital 77. I'm super sorry. That sucks. And I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. It's never fun to spend that long on something you're really looking forward to and excited about, and then it just doesn't pan out. That's not fun at all. But there's a couple of things I think that you could have done differently personally. So the first thing that I'm reading when you went through this whole thing right here is they started their skills with Python and VBA. You guys don't learn VBA. VBA is a dying language. If you don't know what VBA stands for, it stands for Visual Basic for Applications. It's basically programming inside of Excel. I'm not talking about like the functions or the formulas or the equations that you are familiar with. It's like a scripting language inside of Excel. Don't learn it. It's dying. It's not going to be asked for that often on the job. And most companies in the next 5 years will pivot from it to something like JavaScript or Python. So it's honestly just a dying language. I wouldn't worry about it. Second off, I love Python. Python's my favorite data tool, but I don't think you should start by learning it, especially when you have no prior experience. There is such a steep learning curve to Python. And I know so many people who have awesome jobs, who have 6-figure jobs, who can't code one line in Python. It is just so much to learn. And it's honestly difficult to learn. I'm not going to lie to you. Learning how to program is difficult. Python is difficult. I wouldn't learn it. SQL and Tableau, I would keep. I think those are two good things that you should be learning right there. One of the things that I also noticed here is they mentioned after, I had a good understanding of data analysis. I had a good understanding of the data analysis process after around 6 to 7 months of studying full time. Then I applied for jobs all day, every day for almost 3 months. You guys, don't wait 6 months to apply to your first data job. You need to be applying to your first data job, honestly, within 8 weeks of starting the process. And I know that feels counterproductive. It's like, well, this person was a worse candidate at the beginning. Why should they be applying? And the reason is something that Ali Abdaal says in his YouTube videos when he talks about anything, when he's talking about learning anything, productivity in general. First, you get going and then you get good. Honestly, you need to send probably 30, 50, 75 applications just to figure out your process, just to try to figure out what's needed, what the job descriptions say, so on and so forth. Because if you're actually studying the job descriptions, you'll find that Python is only mentioned in around like 33% of the job descriptions for data analyst jobs. So you're going to just need to get your reps in, to be honest. So I would not wait to apply to jobs after you've quote unquote learned everything. To be honest, you're never going to learn everything in this whole entire journey. So just start applying today and build off of it. Second off, I would never tailor 312 resumes. Like, what in the world were you tailoring those resumes for? I know that there's advice to tailor your resumes. I don't think it's actually really worth it. So what I would do instead is probably make about 5 resumes based on different titles. So like, for instance, a business analyst, a data analyst, a marketing analyst, and a financial analyst resume. That way you're only tailoring 5 resumes, and based on whatever job you're applying for, you can use one of those resumes. Another thing that I noticed in this message right here is projects from my GitHub. I don't swear. I tried not to be explicit, and I'm going to contain my emotions here. I hate GitHub. GitHub, the idea of a GitHub portfolio for a data analyst is honestly, this is controversial, but it's honestly one of the worst things that has been said in our industry. I don't believe in it. I don't know how many people, honestly, I really don't know how many people have a GitHub portfolio and get hired as data analysts. From my opinion, I love a portfolio. I just think GitHub's terrible for a portfolio. And to be honest, if you actually like read between the lines, GitHub thinks that GitHub is terrible for portfolios. Do you know why? Because they created a new product called GitHub Pages that is separate from GitHub. I mean, it's you build it in GitHub, but it's a whole separate product. And GitHub built it because they're like, oh, people are using GitHub for a portfolio. But you know what GitHub's made for? It's meant for like Google Docs for code. Like, imagine trying to build your portfolio on like, I'm trying to think of a good way, like on like a menu for like a restaurant. It's like, okay, you can do this. It kind of works, but it's not what we made this for. So I see in the comments here, what about Notion? Notion works great. Any sort of like website where you can actually explain what you did in depth and use pictures and use videos and just like be more descriptive is so much more powerful than just giving someone a GitHub portfolio link. The GitHub portfolios are just so ugly. You can make a GitHub portfolio kind of pretty if you have the README, but the README is just like, it's hard to do well. A lot of people don't do it very well. And I just like, don't really recommend it, to be perfectly honest. So I wouldn't personally made my resume in GitHub. I think that was a little bit of a mistake. Some of the other things that I think that I would have done differently. So let's see. Yeah, giving yourself, like, you only gave yourself 3 months to be applying. And honestly, you probably like, I think you can do it in 3 months, but honestly, 6 months is probably where I'd start to draw the line. And I think that's something that you can actually do if you move the job applying phase earlier in your job search. I think that is actually more useful there. In terms of applying for jobs all day, every day, that sounds really miserable. I would question, and I'd say, how many cold messages did you send? Sending cold messages is so key. Network matters so much. And I know it's not fun to hear, but like, it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? And so the more opportunities you give yourself to know someone, for instance, by doing that phone book method, can be really, really powerful. Let's see what else this person said. They were also trying, this was posted 8 months ago. So this was about the beginning of 2024. I will say that I have seen the job market and really pick up in the spring and summer of 2024. It's been better than it was in 2023. What other advice would I give this person? Yeah, I graduated the course, continued doing personal projects, and started applying for jobs. Honestly, you need to start applying for jobs 3 months in or less. That's really key. Literally nobody wants to hire an entry-level data analyst right now. They do. It happens. I promise. I know it's frustrating. It's competitive for sure, but it happens all the time. The last thing I'd ask you, acceptable capital 77 here, is to, what is your current domain? What was your current job in? Because sometimes it is hard to like pivot to it. Like, for instance, I was in chemical engineering. I was in chemistry, basically. It would have been hard for me to go from chemical engineering to becoming, like, for instance, a financial analyst for like a fintech company. That would have been a big jump, because not only am I not only doing chemical engineering, I'm moving industries to like fintech, and then I'm doing data analysis there. So it's like a double big jump. If you can simplify that and become like a data analyst, for instance, if it was me in like the chemical or the chemical engineering world, that is a smaller jump. And then once you've secured that job, you could always go to a different industry. So I hope that helps. Those are some of the things I think you could have done differently. Acceptable Capital 77. If you're ever open to it, I'd love to meet you. I'd love to talk to you on Reddit and help you through. If you guys want help in your data journey, check out the Data Analytics Accelerator. If you're listening to this in July, we have our July cohort coming up It is a lot of fun. You guys can check it out at datacareerjumpstart.com/bootcamp. Become a data analyst this summer. It's our 10-week data analyst bootcamp without breaking the bank or requiring prior experience. It's going to be from July 8th to September 23rd. You're going to master Excel, SQL, Tableau, Python, and R by building projects. In week 1, you'll have started your first project. Boom. 7 days in, we're starting our first project. Basically, by week 4, you'll be applying for jobs. By the end of week 3, you'll have a portfolio. We'll build that from scratch using GitHub Pages, Card, LinkedIn, Medium. I have tutorials on all of them. I think personally, one of the best ones right now is Card. In fact, let me see if I can show you guys the link. We actually just have this template that you can literally steal. We actually just give you this exact template that you just need to fill out your information. So we'll give you that exact template. Make sure you're ready to go. We have weekly office hours with me and my team. We'll help you with your resume, your LinkedIn, your portfolio. You get a one-on-one call with me and you get help with mock data interviews. This is something where you've been like, man, I cannot land a data job to save my life. I've been really struggling. This accelerator program, by the end of it, you should be able to land a job. Actually, a lot of people, most people who actually do what we tell them to do, land a job before the 10 weeks are over. So if you guys want to check it out, I have a video explaining it. I have a lot of our testimonials down here at the bottom. And we're starting in less than 5 days, you guys, on July 8th. I'd love to have you be there and be part of it. So if that's of interest to you, check out datacareerjumpstart.com/bootcamp or send me a message on LinkedIn. Let's chat. I'd love to talk to you and hear what your thoughts are or what questions you have. And I'm here to help you guys. I've got to run, but it was super great doing these. I have another one of these I'll be doing tomorrow. So come back and ask more questions in the chat. I'm glad to be here. And if you guys want to join the accelerator, send me a message and let's chat. Okay, bye everyone.